last story is that a study indicates that America sucks and Norway rocks. Okay, this is a UN report. And what they did is they looked at the quality of life of 155 countries and they realized America's not number one. In fact, it's number 14. But at number one is Norway, which did unseat Denmark as the world's happiest country. Now, the Nordic nations are the most content, according to the World Happiness Report in 2017, produced by the Sustainable Development Solutions Network, a global initiative launched by the UN in 2012. So countries in sub-Saharan Africa, along with Syria and Yemen, are the least happy of the 155 countries ranked. Denmark, Iceland, Switzerland, Finland, Netherlands, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and Sweden rounded up the top 10 countries. So those are the happiest places on earth.
Well, I do see one thing that unites them, socialism. But we are told that socialism is the boogeyman. It might actually make you happy. Now, I've said this 1,000 times on the show. I'm a capitalist, I'm a small business owner, I believe in competition. But apparently, they're doing something right in the socialist countries. So their rate of taxation in those countries are astronomical. I, as an American, find them to be too high. But they're obviously doing something right. And unlike ideologues, I look at that and go, well, that is data. Those are facts. Those are interesting things to think about. So perhaps, I'm not saying we need to do exactly what they do and that everything they do is applicable to us, but perhaps we could learn a lesson or two from them.
Right, and I think Americans have a hard time looking at the high taxes in a country like Denmark, for instance, because when we think about taxes here in the United States, we think about waste, and our money is wasted. I mean, think about how much of our money gets wasted on private contractors and needless wars as opposed to taking care of our own. But in these countries, they don't do that. They do tax at a high percentage, but that money goes back to the people. It goes back to the people with quality health care, it goes back to the people with free education. All of the things that put us in a tremendous amount of debt here in the United States are things that are readily available in these countries where they're extremely happy. And by the way, the only people who talk about healthcare in countries like Canada and how unhappy people are about it are American politicians who have a vested interest to make it seem as though healthcare sucks in Canada. How many Canadians are like weeping about how terrible healthcare is in their country?
Yeah, meanwhile, we're about to lose 24 million more people from having health insurance because of Trump care. And yeah, they've got a vested interest in making sure that you don't change the system because this is the system that made them powerful and rich. And they have no interest in sharing it with you, even if it makes us a happier country, because it isn't about the country, it isn't about the citizens, it's about them and their greed. So there is a way to do a proper balancing act here. And by the way, socialism really is, I think in a lot of ways, very misunderstood. It means that the private industry does a lot of things. They make jeans, they make hamburgers and sneakers, and that the government does a lot of things, including public education and yes, healthcare, because we don't want you to die in the street. So it's just a matter of where you draw that line. There isn't that much difference between capitalism and socialism. It's just a matter of which industries you think should be private and public. It's not. We're not talking about communism here. And apparently,
you need a mixed economy, man. You got to mix that economy up.
And every economy is mixed. Yeah. Our economy is mixed. Conservatives complain about big government. The biggest thing we have in the government is defense spending. It goes to the Pentagon, it goes to the defense contractors. So if you're going to complain about big government, you should complain about that. That's the largest chunk of the government. But that big government they love. So the reality is, if they've done it right, we shouldn't be so short-sighted. And yes, sometimes if for the right wingers stupid to think America's number one, we shouldn't learn anything. No, if America was number one, it's because we actually did learn things and we valued education, not because we shut off ourselves to the rest of the world.
Are you sick of the mainstream media? Then I got good news for you. We're gonna hire some investigative reporters and we're gonna go house. We're actually going to investigate what's happening in this country and stand up for you guys. Help us do it. Go to tytnetwork.com/go. If everybody watching this video just gives a little bit of money, we'd have plenty to hire those investigative teams and unleash them on the country.